Patricia posted, is that gonna be the one everybody
Like
signs
this?
at the wedding?
No. All right, thanks everybody for being here. We will work through this agenda for next week's council meeting and get any questions answered. First on the agenda, we have approval of minutes, September 13th, 2021, 5 p.m. work session, September 20th, 2021, 9:30 a.m. work session, and city council regular meeting, September 20th, 2021, 10 a.m. Any questions? Okay, next, set public hearings. First is ordinance number 214480, set public hearing for rezoning request 137721 to be held on November 4th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Lee?
Rezoning 137721, applicant is Julia Dunlap. This is on Milligan Street, and it's a 6.5 acre property looking to go from B2 to M1, and it was approved by zoning committee and planning commission.
Okay, any questions? Did you say Milligan?
Milligan.
All right, any questions? Sorry. All right, next is ordinance number 214481, set public hearing for rezoning request 137821 to be held on November 4th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
Rezoning 137821 is Bramlett Auto is the applicant. It's on Highway 31 and Hightower Street. It's rezoning 8.98 acre parcel from B3 to M1.
Okay, he's just expanding the business.
Existing Bramlett Auto, yes. And this also was approved by the zoning committee and planning commission.
All right, any questions? Thanks, Lee. All right, next we have public hearings, resolution number 21234, authorized abatement of unsafe condition at 1613 Sherman Street Southeast. Public hearing was set on September 7th, 2021. Hey, David?
If we would, can we move that to the first meeting in November instead of the October meeting?
Yeah. Okay.
We had some issues with our notifications.
First meeting in November?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Next is resolution number 21276, approved request for off-premise beer and wine license for Aldi Foods number 98, located at 1413 Beltline Road, Decatur, Alabama 35603. Thank you.
I know Mr. Ladner's happy to see this one on the agenda. It's checked out, everything's.
Can you clarify? I had some constituents that were.
Not like that, I'm sorry, that sounds wrong. Constituents questioning you a lot, that's where I'm at. It's recommended for approval.
Okay. Any questions? All right, resolution number 21277, approved request for restaurant retail liquor license for White Wolf Entertainment located at 211 2nd Avenue Southeast, Decatur, Alabama 35601.
No, similar to the last resolution, recommended for approval.
And this is the civil axe throwing, I believe. Okay.
It would be above the building that's owned by Todd Jones.
Okay. All right, any questions? Thanks, Kyle. Ordinance number 214479, approval granting CPNC to Decatur Morgan Hospital EMS. Mr. Marks.
Yeah, that's just setting the public hearing. All the testimony and anything of that nature will be discussed at that point. That's because it's a public hearing, everybody needs to be present to hear what the others are saying.
And we set the public hearing last week.
Right, and it's been duly published in the newspaper, and notice has gone out to the various involved parties.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of that.
All right, any questions? All right. Next we have Ween Abatements. I'll let David tell us what we need to know.
These are all still a go.
Okay.
Y'all wanted to, one at a time them, or?
Not today.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, any questions on any of these weed abatements? Thank you, Mr. Lee. All right, moving to resolutions. Resolution number 21295, approved water tank attachment. I feel like I'm speaking this mic. Lease agreement amendments between Decatur Utilities and T-Mobile. Tom?
Yes, sir. This is, was approved by our board at last week's meeting. It is to amend 2 existing agreements, one for the Boys Club water tank, one for the Walter Jackson water tank, where T-Mobile will go in and install 3 new antenna mounts to provide better coverage for the customers. It will also give them an option for 2 additional 5-year terms on their existing agreements, and they will be responsible for any repairs or damage to the tank during the installation of these antennas.
Have they indicated how long that's gonna take?
They have not. I can check into that
You
and
know,
get
you
back
put
with you.
a little trailer with an antenna on it, and everybody in southeast Decatur is all upset.
We get a
with
lot of
their
questions
cell phone
about it.
service. It's bad
But
shape.
we've been working on this agreement for months. It's been batted back and forth for probably 6 months or more.
Perfect.
Tom, there's an Exhibit A that goes with both of these leases, and we just need to.
I'm
have
sorry, I
the-
didn't hear what you said.
There is a Exhibit A that goes with each of these leases. It needs to be sent to us so we can get it attached to the lease.
Okay, I'm sure it's just the drawings and,
Yeah, it may be. It may be too voluminous to add to.
okay.
Yeah, but,
Yes, we'll get that to you.
All right, any questions for Tom?
yeah, there was 2 of them now. One of them was,
Yeah, but they're
virtually identical.
right, yeah, that's right, but they're different locations.
All right. Next is resolution number 21-296, assess demolition costs in the amount of $7,250 against 110 7th Avenue Northwest.
That's just a demo that we've already carried out, and this just takes care of the lien to protect the city's position.
Okay, any questions on that one? All right, next is resolution number 21-297, assess demolition costs in the amount of $6,240 against 211 7th Avenue Northwest.
Same thing, just a little farther down the street.
All right, any questions? Thank you, sir. Next is resolution number 21-298, authorize mayor to accept TAP grant, 6th Avenue pedestrian improvements, Wilson Street to Prospect Drive.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. President, this is a grant that we have been awarded through Aldot. It is an $800,000 grant requiring a 20% match. The total amount of the project we're estimating to be $918,901. So the overmatch plus the match that we would have to match for the grant is $278,901.
Okay. Any questions on that one?
How much is that number again?
The total amount, Billy,
Yes, that's the total amount, the max amount.
278,901.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, there's 280,000 in FY '22.
Yeah, 280 in the budget, okay. All right, any questions, any other questions? All right, next is resolution number 21-299, pay overage to Aldot for Modus Road Shared Use Trail.
Suzanne and we met with Aldot last week about the grant, and I asked Aldot about this while we were there, expressing my concern with the fact that, these grants that we receive, and we pay these out, and then 3 or 4 years, and I know Carl, if he's on the line, we have the same issues a lot of times with the state, and, their answer was, well, it just takes us a while to get these back, and I said, well, it creates some issues with us. With all that being said, they did send us an invoice for overages. Most of this, what happens is the city hires a CNI consultant contractor that does the construction, engineering, and inspecting, but then the state comes in and they have them pour cylinders, and they take them back and they have them tested also, and these are those testing costs that comes back in from that. So it is basically a difference of $5,913.17. It is unbudgeted. I do think that Dawn and I talked, we've got some grant match that we could probably match, so it wouldn't come out of the general fund, just come out of our grant match budget that we had in 2004.
And it took them 4 years to get back with us on this?
And that's fast. Most of the time it's 10, a lot of times.
I wonder if we can take that long to pay them.
No. Okay.
Probably not. Because we want to get it off the books. That's Kyle would be.
This is very common. I know Councilman Hart out of Barnhart knows this as well, when it was addressed when he was serving to really.
Yeah, we had that with Spring.
Bring
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
It's a common occurrence.
Yep. All right, any other questions for Alan? Thanks, sir. Resolution number 21-300, accept bid for Shady Grove Lane Phase 2.
Yes, Mayor Council, we opened bids on our, I guess, the last phase for Shady Grove Lane Road improvements, and we just recommend approving this bid. They came in under what's, still left of the budget for the project, so I'm happy with the bid.
Okay, any questions? All right, next is resolution number 21-301, award bid number 21-030 for household hazardous chemical collection to Tredebi
You did pretty good.
Tredebi Environmental Services.
Yes, sir. This is one of our standing bids. It's approaching expiration, and we received 2 responses with Tredebi as the lowest bidder at $8,666.38.
Okay. Any questions for Charles? All right, resolution number 21-302, declare surplus of municipal supplies no longer needed by the engineering department. Becky?
Yes, this is 5-gallon buckets of yellow. We have 108 5-gallon buckets, and we have 40 buckets of the white. And this is pavement marking paint, and it's no longer needed by the engineering department.
Okay, any questions for Becky? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is resolution number 21-303, authorize mayor to engage with Maynard, Cooper, and Gale PC. Mayor?
Council President, Council, thank you for the opportunity to share. As you know, we have had challenges with our transportation, the need for an additional bridge across the Tennessee River, trying to determine where the bridge needs to go, and ultimately the construction of that bridge is something that requires spending time in where the funding sources are, and those are federal funding sources. And most of those people are at work at our nation's capital in D.C. and trying to listen to those that know how to get these projects done, started, etc. They think that it would be wise for the city to invest in someone that's skilled in making that happen. With that, ended up making contact with Maynard, Cooper, and Gale, located in really the sixth or the Birmingham office. Maynard, Cooper, and Gale is one of the largest, if not the largest law firm in Alabama, and has a vast expertise and experience in a variety of practice areas. For example, Maynard employs attorneys and staff in the following areas of practice: government affairs and relations, public finance, economic development, tax, government contracting, grants, among others. And so I think I've really been able to chat with some of you about what we're talking about here. I put the agreement before you today. Councilman Jackson and Pepper, I'm sorry I did not email you one, but I can certainly do that. The agreement. And I guess at this point I'd stop for questions.
Hey, any questions for Mayor?
Yeah, I'd really like to know, I mean, the mayor talked about them being an attorney firm. I'd really like to know, I mean, and we talked talked about a bridge going across the river. What is their job going to be specifically there? I mean, because, you know, I understand the legal aspect of it and all the components of that are housed in their firm, but what is their specific role going to be in it?
So to determine where the bridge will go, according to Dwayne Hellum with our MPO, is going to cost the city somewhere between $3.5 to $4 million. And so to get that done, we'll need federal funding, and that will be the firm's job, is to try to obtain that funding for us.
So basically, are we saying that they are lobbyists who are going to try to obtain that funding for us?
That's exactly what they are. Yes, sir.
Okay, I appreciate the explanation. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions? So I have one question.
Yes, sir.
We specifically, it says, Dane Cuttrell, I think is the name of the gentleman on here, but there'll be access to this firm as a whole.
We have the whole firm.
Yeah,
Yes.
all right.
And I think back to the 3.5 to 4, help me. So with that, you know, there's pre-engineering, there's pre-construction, there's location, there's geo, there's environmental. And before we can even go to DC and say, hey, we need a bridge, the first thing they're gonna do is be like, okay, well, are you ready? And until we have that funding and those studies complete, we're putting the cart before the horse. So that's kind of compounds the issue of, you know, if we can, you know, become involved with this firm to start early on, assuming they, you know, they're successful in helping us with pre-engineering and environmental studies, one can only assume that they would kind of carry the bucket of water on down the field and try to help us get funding for a bridge.
That's right. So what we're talking about as far as the 3.5 to 4 includes many of the things that you just mentioned.
Okay. That gets us a shovel-ready project to take to our delegation and ask for help.
That's right. So there's a lot of areas along the coastline, I guess, of the river that would not be good for us to get across.
No.
Right.
So I'm just gonna ask this, if there's a $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill that is likely, if it hadn't already, will pass. If we don't have somebody lobbying for the city of Decatur to get a bridge and other things, how would we do that? Just hope we get it?
Just hope we get it. You'd count, you and I would be, and some others would be making numerous trips to DC. Senator Orr, our chamber, all of the assets that we have to try to get that funding. But most municipalities our size employ someone like what I'm presenting to the council tonight to help because of their experience in knowing how to get these things done. Now, just so that there's not just a one-off here, there's also grant opportunities that, talking with Senator Orr, that we're likely leaving on the table, missing out on, that Maynard Cooper will be able to help us with that as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Next is resolution number 21304, approve renaming Decatur City Cemetery to Decatur Historic Cemetery. Jason?
Yes, thanks, Mayor and Council. Hope everybody's having a good afternoon. This is to rename the Decatur Cemetery to Decatur Historic Cemetery. As you know, we've got a lot of exciting stuff going on at the cemetery with the Baker Foundation and a lot of folks in our area, in our community, spend a lot of time and effort to improve it. One of the directions it has been going is trying to include keeping the historic value of the areas around the cemetery, the old chapel that we've been working with Baker Foundation on, along with the work that's already been done. So this is just in keeping with the idea of where this has been going and where it's going to continue to go. And it's been discussed with everybody involved as far as, is that what you want? And you know, is this something that is better for the cemetery in the long run? I think everybody agrees with it.
All right, thanks, Jason. Anybody have any questions? Jason, as far as signage and, you know, kind of, I know that with the name change, what do you think with that? The length, how long?
Well,
Yeah.
any signage that's been done in concrete, those things would still be useful. This would concern, there's still markers that have to be done for the roadways, you know, because right now, if you look at you know, the different roads through the cemetery, we're looking at doing like some marble markers for each one, along with a lot of other things. So this would be something that more or less be going on anything after this point that we've done to keep it all consistent.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thanks, Jason. Next is resolution number 21305, authorize the mayor to execute community service agreements.
Council, this just allows the mayor to be able to sign the agreements for our community members that received appropriation money in the budget.
Okay, any questions? Thanks, Kyle. Next is resolution number 21306, approve one-time pay increase, wellness program participation.
Yes, this is our annual opportunity to recognize the employees who participated in the local government annual wellness requirements to help us maintain our participation targets, which give us the opportunity to keep our annual premiums discounted on the health plan. This will be paid out on December the 3rd.
Okay, any questions? All right, next is resolution number 21307, approve one-time pay increase.
This one is in recognition of the holiday. We just appreciate our employees. This will also be paid out on December 3rd, which will be a minor correction in that resolution, Ms. Stephanie. It says the pay date is December 5th. It would actually be December 3rd.
All right, any questions on that one? All right, resolution number 21308, approve employee engagement half-day holiday paid leave 2021.
We have a tradition of authorizing employees paid leave for half day on the day on Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas and on New Year's Eve. And this is just the housekeeping to have that documented.
Okay, any questions? Thanks, Rochelle. That's all we've got on this agenda. Anything else from any department heads? Mayor?
Yes, sir. Well, I think now this is somewhat old news about we have a hotel that's going to be constructed at the corner of 2nd Avenue and Moulton Street. It'd be a Fairfield Inn. It's approximately 80 rooms for the Fairfield Inn. In order for that to happen, there's need for a parking deck. And so the hotel, what they have said is the standard is plus 10%. So if you have 80 rooms, then you put in right at 90 parking spaces for the hotel. You should be receiving some agreements right now that are outlines regarding the hotel. What we're talking about is approximately a 240 space parking deck that would have a brick siding on it that would be conducive to, attractive to downtown aesthetically. And the estimated cost for the hotel is $6 million.
For the parking deck?
Excuse me, the parking deck, thank you. So with that, the parking deck will actually, the location for the parking deck is where the parking lot is now, south of the Brick Deli, okay? And so that parking lot takes up approximately 77 spaces. So then you bring in the 90 for the hotel. You can see that 240 will give us room for additional parking. And then looking at doing paid on-street parking, we've been seeing right at 90% occupancy or on 2nd Avenue and on Moulton Street during the business time. So this is what I wanted to share with the council. Now, funding sources, that's to be discussed. We have the cash to be able to take care of this, but at the same time, we could also loan the money to the city with the cash and then go to the bond market and pay ourselves back. So these are things that we need to discuss with the help of our CFO.
And I, in the paper, read about this on Sunday, or yesterday. There's been discussions of additional funding sources, partners.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. It's in my notes. They're sitting right
Yeah.
over there. So we met with NARCOG. Dane and I did. Robbie Cantrell, Joey Hester at NARCOG, and there's an EDA grant that, let's just look at the minimal side there, that they feel comfortable with it, somewhere around 33% of that $6 million that the EDA grant could support, up to 50%. And Dane, anything that you might want to add to that?
Yes, sir. There's a pool of money that is being held through this grant, so when it's depleted, it's gone. So we want to get our application as soon as we can, and we'll work on that this week.
And Robbie's assisting with that.
Yes. Yes, but they really were very optimistic about our ability to be able to receive an award.
And our partners in tourism.
And thank you for prodding me along here. So we had the opportunity to sit down and visit with the Visitors Bureau, met with Danielle Gibson and the Treasurer Wade Weaver, and to present this to them and the need. As you know, they receive 64.3% of the 7% lodging tax that is paid whenever someone uses one of our hotels. And so we asked them if, just at this location, if they would let us use those funds to help retire the debt service on the hotel, to which they were willing to do that. Now, they did ask that, boy, we don't want, every time a hotel's built, to have to point assets from their revenues towards something like that. And we assured them that would not be the case. And then they asked that if the council saw fit, if we would enter into a long-term agreement, that is a council term as it relates to their 64.3%, or if things change in the market, maybe in the next term, a new agreement could be considered. And really, I thought that was reasonable. They have staff, they have needs, and end up seeing things in the paper about capping and negotiations and such. And so most anything that were to happen now over the next 4 years as far as announcements are concerned really wouldn't have a big impact on that. So I certainly hope the council will consider that.
I like all these additional funding options, but I definitely, it's exciting, very exciting project. I think we've heard about parking decks for a long time, and obviously the hotel's exciting. I think having partners, you know, we give allocations, and I think it's important that there's a partnership, and I think I haven't talked to Danielle yet, but I definitely will, and thank her for being willing to partner with us on this project that benefits a lot of Decatur residents, a lot of Morgan County residents as well, and it's an exciting project. So
Another point of information, one of the first things that they had to say, that is Danielle and Wade, was thank you for the approach, you know, that how we brought this before them. And also we're working with the hospitality board. They have a $2 a night room tax, and we've asked that that be considered as a possible funding source. And the Visitors Bureau, they operate more like our neighbors to the west, where they can just make a decision right there on the spot. With the hospitality board, they'll do that as a board to give the support. But we'd be looking, bear with me just a moment. This is the O sheet. You remember what that number, what is it, around $50,000 a year?
45,809.
Thank you. Did y'all hear that? 45,809?
yeah,
That's a 3-year average on a hotel with
Simple
80
as-
rooms
okay.
Okay.
during COVID.
And that's both, that's the $2 and the 64.3?
No, that 45 is just the $2.
That's just the $2, okay.
Yeah, and I said it before. I think Bang quoted me, but you know, I do think this helps. There's been a lot of discussion about parking deck from the county commission's perspective, and you know, I think it's worth a conversation with them to see if they want to be a part of this and partner with us on something that will help them, and again benefits half of their constituents. So I think we need to have that conversation as well.
Sure. Planning is already working on the paid on-street parking, or surface parking, if you will. That will not include, it won't have the meters that we're used to seeing from days of old. It'll just be mostly apps with numbers, and you pay for your parking. If you're in a theater or restaurant, you need to add time, you can do that from the convenience of your seat. At the same time, kiosks will be placed every so often for those that may not have a smartphone, that would need to, you know, go and actually pay that way. And then enforcement would be done outside of the Decatur Police Department as well.
Yeah, I know there's, of course, paid parking generates a lot of conversation, and I think you would agree there's a lot to still be worked out about times that you would be required to pay, weekends or not, how much, and where. So there's still, I think, generally that's the idea, but still a lot to be worked out. Definitely
Yes.
We'll have public input into
Right.
that. So.
Not having that might not help us with the parking deck.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Mayor. Any other questions or discussion around that?
It's just exciting. I mean, downtown to see it, you know, just continue. Yeah, just continue revitalization. I think that's a good barometer of where we are as a city and the direction we're going, and just the buzz that's going on. And I'm really appreciative to everybody with, you know, PhD and everybody who's looked at us and decided to invest here in Decatur. I think we owe them a debt of gratitude. I'm excited.
I think it'll be an economic catalyst downtown. We've seen over the past few years a lot of investment in downtown. I think something of this magnitude will only increase that. So
It's like we're spending all of our money in District 2, doesn't it?
Thank you, Mayor.
you've been running the Carlson too much. It's exciting.
It is exciting. Thank you. I believe someone has a wedding coming up Saturday night.
Yeah, that's my plans at least.
All right, congratulations.
He'll be Mr. Waller. He will. All right, thanks, Mayor. Anything else from council?
I have one question, and it's basically addressed to Herman. Herman, on agenda item 213051, when we're talking about community service agreements. We typically do those individually, so they're kind of one by one, or they're laid out, instead of just one big block here. Why are we doing them separately? Why are we doing them in one big block like this at a time?
We did it just like this way last year.
That's a question for CFO. I know you're correct. That's how it's been done. Kyle needs to answer that because that's how it was presented.
He's coming to the mic.
He's gonna present that.
Mr. Jackson, when I set up the resolution, I set it up the exact same way that was approved last year. So if we need to break it out one by one, we can.
Yeah, I think that they should be broken down individually. Each one stands on its own merit, and this is, that's the way for our public to know exactly what we're funding. So I think that each one needs to be broken down on its own merit.
So,
I think 20. I can't remember.
It's close to 30. I guess I'm just confused why, because all we're doing is asking for the mayor to be able to sign something that's already been passed in the budget. So the approval for the funding's already approved.
Y'all already adopted it.
This is just to let him sign the contract, which basically has certain deliverables that they're required to do on their end by receiving this money.
Yeah, but the council is giving the mayor the authority to sign those contracts, and those contracts are individual contracts. So basically, the council should address those items individually, one by one, as individual items. I mean, because each one is an individual contract in itself. So we're granting him the authority to do individual contracts for individual entities, and we need to address those that way. That's why.
Herman, I'll leave that to you if you think that, that they're as individual contracts.
They are in fact individual contracts, but they mirror what's already been approved in the budget. All this is doing is implementing,
Well, we can talk about that
Yeah.
if they need to be broken out, that's perfectly fine.
well, no, let me see if this is a suggestion. And I think it's a good point. He said the public needs to know what we're doing. If we can attach to that a listing of the entity and the amount that's being appropriated, and attach that to it, then the public will see exactly what each entity is receiving. And I think that's probably.
Yeah, but by the same token, Herman, what I'm simply saying is that there are contracts in there that we're giving the mayor the authority to sign off on. And there are contracts in there that everyone might not agree to. And so they should be taken individually, regardless of the fact we're having to take the steps to do them, even though they're part of the budget. We're having to take this standalone step. So I think it's important that they be addressed individually.
Well, you're changing, and I understand what you're saying now, and I don't disagree with that. That doesn't give the respective council member an opportunity to vote against a particular one and then vote in favor of others. So.
That's exactly right.
All right, so that's a different flavor than what.
My apologies, I just
No,
did
that's
what was
fine.
approved last year, so I figured that was
That
okay.
is a legitimate matter. If the council wishes to do them separate, then that's what we'll do. But it just clogs the.
Yeah, it's 30
clogs
resolutions.
the agenda and takes up additional time, but if that's what the council wants, and I mean he is correct, it is individual contracts, and each of them stand on their own. So.
Okay, yeah, we can.
What we'll do is I would suggest that we do individual resolutions, and that's how we'll do it.
All right, anything else on that one, or anything else from council? All right, that's it. Thank y'all.